right, here we go. 3, 2, 1.
Boom, and welcome to the Big Honker Podcast, brought to you by Shin Gear. Go down this weekend to Memphis, Tennessee on Saturday to the Shin Film Festival.
I am so bummed I'm going to miss that. I really am.
Well, you could catch a red eye from
No,
Dallas.
I've got dad duties.
You got dad duty.
I got to be a father.
Me and Andy, neither one will be there. We were filming this week. Matter of fact, when this is out, we will be in south of Montreal filming with St. Lawrence Outfitters, and then get back, and Andy's got to be a dad, so we will not. Neither one of us will be at Shin Gear or at Shin Fest, but please go by and see them at Memphis. Will be a great time, especially if you are a Tennessee football fan, because they will beat Alabama this year on the big screen there.
Serious FOMO going on right now. So send me all the pictures. Be drinking, live it up. Live it up for me. Wish I could be there.
Well, probably one or two people will miss you.
Good.
And with me today from Kaleb, where are you from right now? Are you in Ohio?
No, sir. Very southwest corner of Iowa.
I knew that because you told me that yesterday. With us today from the the very southwest corner of Iowa. Now I'm going to fuck up this name big time. Kaleb Kahue.
Kahue.
I was fixing to say the E. Y'all didn't give me a chance. Kaleb Kahue.
Yep.
Now that is not a Mexican name, is it?
It's very
That's what
Hawaiian.
I was figuring. You are our second Hawaiian that we've had on here.
Yeah.
John's a regular on here. Do you like Spam like John does?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, it's a staple in my household. You bet.
Really?
So did you grow up in Hawaii?
Oh, sure. No, sir. My grandpa was born there, and he come over here in the late 50s. I'm only quarter Hawaiian, so. But I get really dark complected,
Well, you have
I tan.
You have 100% Hawaiian name for sure. And you seriously, you do eat Spam though, right?
Oh, yes, sir. Yeah.
I had Spam and eggs the other day. I like Spam. I don't eat it very often, but I do like it. But it is the staple of the Hawaiian Islands.
My wife makes a Spam casserole, and it's really good. And it's definitely not good for you. It's got it's rice, and it's got like Velveeta cheese on it, and Spam. It's really, really good, but it'll fucking block you up if you eat too much of it. Put a little bit of Louisiana's hot sauce with it, and
that sounds good.
Delicious.
Oh, yeah. So much sodium.
Yeah,
right.
It is a very salty meal.
It's good for the hunting season diet, though.
Yeah. There's a funny meme going around that says, I hunt so that I can eat the world's most organic and natural foods, and it shows, my diet during hunting season is Little Debbie's and Mountain Dews.
Yeah, 100%. Anything convenient at a gas station for sure.
We had something new in Canada. We had some Cheetos pizza flavored Cheetos that Rick Keller bought for us. I'd never had them before, and they're pretty tasty.
For sure. We ran into the French fries and gravy Lays.
Ooh.
Do what now? They
poutine Lays?
Yeah. They're dynamite. I really regret not stopping closer to the border before we crossed back into the States and not loading a cooler full of them. They're pretty good. And the rotisserie chicken, or roasted chicken, or rotisserie chicken, or something like that. They're really good.
They have a poutine flavored Lay's now?
Oh, I'm sure. Yeah, they got all sorts of weird flavored Lay's.
I've never seen.
Why you think that they would make a pizza flavored Lay's, but they're going to stop short of poutine? No. Or, they got.
Well, you got to check out the. I'm sure you've seen the crazy candy TikTok dudes. Just wild. Third world country flavors, stuff like that, drinks, chips. Yeah, there's some crazy flavors out there, but that poutine, it's pretty good.
Do you like regular poutine also?
To be honest with you, out of 5 or 6 trips to Canada now, this last week was the first time I tried it, and it was at a Dairy Queen, so I'm not sure I can really judge my overall experience on poutine from a DQ. If anybody wants to give me a good local spot, I'd sure try it. But
we had it at the Winnipeg airport, and it was decent. I just was never.
It was good. I liked it.
Did you?
Yeah.
The cheese curds were. I didn't. It was not as good a cheese curds as I've had. It wasn't bad. It's poutine though. It's not. It's just not a favorite meal. I'd rather have nachos than poutine. But that's a Southern Texas deal.
Yeah. I don't. Not a big French fry fan myself.
Yeah. So where were y'all hunting at in Canada?
Northern Saskatchewan.
Where at? Can you tell the place, or is it like a top secret? Or we're just going to go like 300 miles north of Saskatoon?
No, not quite that far, but we were North Saskatoon. I just won't say the town because we don't ever run into anybody up there, fortunately.
I don't blame you for that at all.
We talked to some guys in the airport, and they were in Alberta. We had the world's fucking wackiest flight schedule. We went from Dallas Love to
Atlanta
to Winnipeg to Saskatoon, and then coming home we had a 15-hour layover in Calgary. So we went from Saskatoon to Calgary to Atlanta to Dallas. Anyway,
well, we got a hotel room. We spent the night. We didn't just.
But anyway, we were talking to some other hunters that were there in Alberta, and they said they were there for 5 days, never saw or heard another group of hunters the entire time.
Yeah. Like I said, we've been going there. This is my 5th or 6th trip to that same location. And I've ran into one other outfitter, and I've seen one other decoy spread. So it's pretty fortunate.
How did y'all find this place?
A buddy of mine at the time, he was guiding for an outfit up there, and he invited us up for a week, and then we kind of just put the wheels to the pavement and found a completely different location because, the outfitters up there, they have their zones that they got to stay within. And we kind of just jumped out of that to save that outfitter's birds. And we kind of just found this weird pocket of birds, and they just keep going. I mean, obviously the birds keep going back. We keep going back to the same spot. There's a lot of big water up there, as I'm sure you guys know, but there's specifically some pretty big water right around that region that we hunt.
Now, do you, whenever you go there, is there like hotels and stuff like there that you can stay at, or how do y'all? What's the sleeping arrangement like?
Yeah, we stay at a pretty big Airbnb.
Oh, nice. Okay, cool.
I noticed flying from Saskatoon to Calgary, when you got west out of Saskatoon, there wasn't a lot of water. Like, we were east of Saskatoon where we hunted, and it was absolutely phenomenal. But there was water. But the water was, you could tell they're dry. It was the water was real low everywhere you'd look. But when we got east of Saskatoon or west of Saskatoon, everything was dry, it looked like, just about. And I had some hunters tell me that hunted west of Saskatoon, and they did not do any good because there wasn't any water.
Yeah, and I don't know how far out of bounds it is, geographically speaking, but like west of Saskatoon over to like the Battlefords, right on the line of Berta and all that stuff. I don't know. We in our group we kind of just refer to that as the hill country. Everything east and northeast and southeast of Saskatoon tends to be pretty flat. Right around like Regina, Saskatoon's really flat, as I'm sure you guys saw.
Yeah, it's Canada's a weird place. Me and Logan have a joke. Like, everything in Canada it's like a CGI generated photograph. Like, when you're watching a movie, and then they put in CGI, and you're like, that's close to real life, but something's off. Like, that's the way with everything in Canada. Like, Josh Moore was bowling the other night, and he shows us, it's like in Canada, they have 5 bowling pins, and the ball's super small. So it's like, yeah, it's kind of like bowling, but something's just a little bit off. Even their football. You're watching the game, and you're like, why are the goalposts in the front of the end zone? Like, you're close.
Yeah. It's so miserable.
No, you're good. What's miserable?
It's miserable in the winter, so they have to come up with some new shit.
I guess. I don't know if they were like, all right, guys, how can we make this our own? I got it. Let's make the field longer, wider, and we'll move the fucking goalpost to the front of the end zone. It's Canadian football. It's ours. It's all ours.
Yeah, I suppose they think the same thing about us going between like 11-man, 8-man. So the field changes too.
Oh, fuck them. They don't know anything about football. They're getting our retread.
I agree.
They're getting our retread.
So you're in southeast Iowa. Are you an Iowa Hawkeye fan or an Iowa State fan, or do you give two shits about either one of them? Are you an Iowa fan, an Iowa State fan, or do you give two shits about either one of them?
Okay. I'm not a fan of Iowa because they're just content with being mediocre. That'll get everybody fired up. Yeah, they're just so content with being mediocre, being a 6 or 7 win team every year. Not a huge Iowa fan. My wife went to school in Iowa State. She doesn't watch football, which is really good. So I don't have to be an Iowa State fan. I'm a college football fan of anybody playing Nebraska.
Oh, okay.
Well, lately you've been a happy man. You've been a happy man for a long time, then, because Nebraska is relevant.
Yeah, it's just not the 90s anymore.
No, it's not. I was I don't know what's going on with Colorado. You figure being up 29 points, I don't know if they really got complacent or what, but
they're not that good.
That was not a good look.
Travis Hunter,
no defense.
The Travis Hunter kid is supposed to be this all-world, all-American shutdown corner. The guy he covered had 289 yards receiving. I mean, he's not covering Randy Moss.
Are we starting to see him getting more down for playing both sides or what?
I think they need to cut back.
Yeah, I think that he was just wore out by the end of the game.
I mean, how can you not be? You're playing. I don't know how many snaps he played against Stanford, but I mean, my God, it's the seventh game of the season.
Yeah, I think Dion has been great for the University of Colorado. Absolutely the best thing they've ever done. If they would have paid him $50 million a year, he'd be worth it in the publicity they're getting. But I think you're going to see Dion next year is going to be a 9 or 10 game win team. I do not think that they're going to be some big national powerhouse like everybody thinks they are. And when he made that comment last week that he could go to Atlanta, if the Atlanta Falcons would draft both of his boys, they'd get a package and all three of them come there. I don't see Dion resonating over to the NFL as being a great head coach because I don't think the players will buy into all that rah bullshit. I just don't.
Yeah. I would agree with that.
Well, I mean, we had Cam Smith on, and he was talking like when you get to that level of the pros, like you just want to, you don't want your coach to be that way. Like you want them to be matter of fact. That's what we got to do, and just let me go do it. You don't want all that extra bullshit. I saw something the other day, and I haven't researched it to see if it's true or not. But I saw that Caleb, and this isn't going to be a football podcast by any means, but I saw Caleb Williams wants ownership shares with whatever team drafts him.
Well, he keeps playing like he did the other night. The motherfucker couldn't get a fucking ownership in the USFL. He has got a lot of talent. He's not Andrew Luck. When Andrew Luck come to the NFL, Andrew Luck was an NFL quarterback. Caleb Williams is not an NFL quarterback. He probably, best thing happened to him would if he could sit behind Alex Smith like Patrick Mahomes did for a year. I've seen him make a lot of plays and it's college, but I think he's getting a lot more press than he's worth, and if that's what he wants, I wouldn't fucking draft him. Let him be somebody else's headache. He's not getting NFL ownership. He can go back to college one more year, and if he wants to. This year is probably going to be the New England Patriots are probably going to have the first pick in the draft this year. And Robert Kraft and Bill Belichick ain't giving him shit other than drafting him. And if he wants to stay another year and take another chance, New England might be the first pick again, or Chicago. But that's probably where his chances of him playing football are going to be, New England or Chicago.
Yeah, it says right here, per NBC Sports, per multiple sources, the representatives of USC quarterback Caleb Williams had been making it known to prospective agents that Williams wants partial ownership of the team that selects him in 2024, if he declares for the draft.
He's dealing with fucking billionaires. They don't give their money away.
Yeah.
So...
How many? We'll get back to hunting here. How many days did y'all spend up in Canada this time, or do y'all do the same amount every year?
Yeah, we do about the same. We try to get up there. We'll leave like a Thursday or a Friday, and then have that entire next week to hunt. And then we usually peel out of there on like Saturday afternoon, Saturday night, so we can get home and get back into the swing of things and get back to the shitty reality of going to work.
That is the hard part.
How was the border crossing? Was it a pain in the ass, or was it pretty smooth?
I've flown over one time and I've drove across every other time, and it's a pretty big outfit that we've crossed with. It's a 30-foot enclosed trailer and 2 or 3 pickups, and we've never had a single problem. We've always been in and out, fortunately. I think the longest I've ever sat in there is maybe 30 to 45 minutes, and that was just waiting on other people getting processed and stuff like that. So we've never had any trouble, thankfully.
So, I have trouble every time I go.
Yeah, you do. Let's talk about guns. That's what this one do. Give people that want to go to Canada that are on the road doing this. How did you have all your paperwork for your guns filled out before you get there, or do you fill them out at the station?
Oh, yes, sir. We had everything filled out. You can print your declarations off pre-trip, and the biggest thing is no blemishes on the paperwork or anything like that. You keep 3 or 4 copies of your declaration. We learned something about the declaration I'll touch on later here in a second. So you just fill out your gun declarations, have all your P's and queues lined up, and as long as they can scan through it pretty quick, it seems like, and they don't have to search for stuff, you're in and out.
Yeah. Do they ever think that you're guiding up there because of your big trailers and multiple people?
They ask that question several different ways, many times. Yes.
Yeah. It's like,
but I mean, it's just like 300-400 snow goose full bodies.
Right.
We take 5 to 10,000 full body honkers, and then we take all the food. Like, we don't eat out up there. We grill every night, stuff like that, breakfast. So we take a Blackstone. This year we took a shrimp boiler, a great big fish fryer, stuff like that. So it's just a lot of totes, and what.
I'm sure they look at that. Yeah, like you're right. That like they ask the same question like 7 different ways. Like, awfully big trailer for just you guys freelancing up here.
Yeah, 100%. They get super nervous. And this year, like I said, we were in and out. They didn't even drop the door on the trailer. Didn't ask for the keys, nothing. I was super shocked about that because we have been. They've gone through our stuff before, but they've been pretty quick about it. I mean, we have nothing to hide. We're very upfront at the window. That's all you got to do, and they really don't want to be there any more than you do. It seems like so.
One thing that was weird when we flew back from Calgary, U.S. Customs was in the Calgary airport. So like it was so like anytime I've ever flown international, we always go through U.S. Customs when we land. So like if we're coming back from Mexico, we'll go through customs at DFW
or Houston or Florida.
It was in Calgary, and those U.S. people were not excited to be there. Our guy was from fucking Albuquerque.
Hell no, they're stuck in Canada.
Yeah, because I asked him. I said, "Where are you from?" He said, "Albuquerque." I said, "You like it up here?" That was his answer. And I don't blame him. I don't want to live in a freaking Canadian city anyways. The people in the small towns in Canada absolutely love. There's no identity. There's no identity in the big cities at all. I mean, you don't know where the fuck you're at. You don't know if you're in China, if you're in Saudi Arabia, where the fuck you're at. There's no... I would hate for Canada to have to take their military and go actually attack someone or to defend themselves, because I don't think they have any of that personal... what's the word? Patriotism that you would
like,
find
in America.
Yes. I mean, if you go to Iowa or you go to California or you go to Texas, wherever, you can find people that are patriotic Americans that are there going to give their lifeblood there. And they may have only been here for 2, 3, 4 generations or 5. In Canada, I don't feel that way other than the small towns. It seems like they're all immigrants everywhere.
Yeah, for sure.
But yeah, we were shocked because we went through our customs. And then when we looked through the line, I was like, oh, fuck. Because I was worried about me and Andy getting on an airplane. And I'm texting Michelle, and I said, shit, we got to go through another deal. I said, we got to go through U.S. Customs. She goes, it wouldn't be this hard to come from the southern border. I said, fuck no, you just come right across into the United States.
And you get a $3,000 paycheck whenever you get across. So.
And a couple nights hotel rooms free.
Nice.
But anyways, they didn't. It was really different. But when we landed in Atlanta, it's just like you flew from Dallas to Atlanta. You just walked in the airport, and that was the end of it. So I enjoyed that part of the deal, not getting jacked with in America.
Right.
Because Dallas especially takes forever sometimes to go through customs.
Yeah. What's kind of on the menu when you guys go? You said you don't ever eat out. So like, is it steak and shrimp and all the good stuff? Like y'all probably eat like kings while you're
yeah, we kind of have a big group meeting the weekend before we leave, and we kind of line all that out so we can go get groceries. Like this week we had, this trip, one night we had New York strips, and, French fries, I think. We had a shrimp boil one night, tacos, just easy stuff you can bulk,
right.
You know.
Now, do you bring any of the birds back, or do you not fuck with any of that?
We don't. We've crossed with birds 2 or 3. Yeah, we got a nice source up there, and then she'll actually process them for us, and then she will ship them back.
Really?
But yeah.
Oh wow.
We met a guy that was
They have to be processed in order to be shipped.
We met a guy that was a biologist in Calgary Airport, and Andy and him started talking, and he asked us. He goes, "Did y'all bring any of your geese back?" I mean, we killed 300 snow geese. And Andy's like, "No."
Sure.
He said, "We killed snow geese." Oh, that's good eating right there. I know a perfect way to cook them. What was it now?
He said that I can make snow goose taste just like a ribeye.
Well, I'm buying a ribeye. And
I was like, okay, I'll bite. Like how? Because like when like they're setting you up for like asking them how.
Sure.
So like, okay, tell me your fucking secret.
Yeah.
And he said, put him in a water bath, a nice water bath, pull as much blood as you can out, and then coat them in ground coffee grounds and brown sugar, and that'll do it. According to him, Rick Kaminsky, very nice guy. He's a professor at Clemson, knows Philip Lavretsky and Mike Brasher, and that whole thing. So he's a legit dude, but I don't know if I want to fuck with bringing snow geese back from Canada just to try that. So like, I'll wait a month and maybe shoot a snow here and try it.
What?
Try it that way.
Yeah.
You take the blood out.
We do something pretty similar with that with coffee, but
really?
It's usually with big geese, yeah.
Does it make them taste
So
better?
we just put them in a...
Does it make them taste better?
I think it just helps draw, like the blood and maybe some fat out of them. We put them in a slow cooker, so we just pile breasts into a crock pot, and then you literally just cover them in coffee. Some people use Coke. I've heard that used quite a bit. I don't know if it's just the acidity in it or what that helps draw it out. But, you cook them for 8 to 10 hours, and then you might want to be wearing a mask when you pull the lid off that thing because it is atrocious. It's something like you've never smelled before. But strain that coffee off of them, and then you can literally just pull those things apart with a fork, and it's just like shredded beef.
Wow.
I hate to say it, but like I don't really think you could tell me the difference between that and pulled, shredded beef.
Kind of like a pot roast or something. Taste something similar.
Yeah, it cooks up like that. Yeah, but it definitely has a texture of like pulled a pulled beef sandwich or anything like that. Slap a onion on it and a little barbecue sauce, and you can get rid of a lot of birds that way pretty quick.
I'm gonna try that. I'm gonna do better this year about keeping birds that I shoot because it's free protein, and if the end of the world is coming, like people say it is possibly coming, I at least want to have a freezer full of some meat.
Imagine your last meal's a fucking goose. God almighty, that would be terrible.
Could you imagine going 2 weeks without eating? That fucking goose would taste like a filet mignon.
I'm not knocking what you're saying.
No, you're knocking it.
No, I'm not what you're
like,
saying.
Oh, fuck,
but
could you imagine that?
if it gets that bad, I'm going to shoot a cow out here. There's cows everywhere. This is my issue. Not my issue I have with it, because I'm sure it's really good. It's just surprising that when you cook a steak, you want the fat and the juices in it. And then in the blood, and then we're taking all of that out of a goose to make it taste like beef.
Yeah, I suppose it just renders different.
I've never had goose on a grill that I thought was good. I've had some goose cooked different ways. I've had it on tacos that you've made at your house, Andy. That's really tasty. This pulled pork deal. I love the damn. I've got a bunch of goose sticks at home that people have sent me. That is really, really good. I mean, very good. And Jordan Disley sent me a bunch of deer and elk and stuff that he had made into sticks and goose, and it was very, very good. But I've never had goose on a grill that tasted worth a shit.
Do you like venison?
A little bit, not a lot. I like beef more than anything. Some game I like. I like moose a lot, and I like elk as much. Deer's a little gamey tasting for me sometimes.
Right.
But I'm just...
I hate to say it, you just didn't have a
That's
cook
what
right.
everybody says about everything, and I never had swan until Chef Jean-Paul made it, and it was pastrami, and it was one of the best things I've ever had in my life. So, yeah.
Really?
And I had duck in Mexico at a French restaurant in Mexico, which was made by a Mexican cooking French, and it was very, very good.
Yeah, but I feel like the fat would be more that way. I think there'd be more fat on it.
There was fat on the one in Mexico I had. It was very, very good.
Store-bought.
Yeah, I would like to try. I saw some duck cooked on the Food Channel the other day that they grilled, and it had a lot of fat on it. They didn't breast them out; they plucked them, and they had it on a grill and had a big bunch of fat on it. And it was really good. And in 2 weeks, me and Michelle are going to be in Cape Cod, and we're going to go to a nice restaurant. And if they have duck that way, I'm going to order it and try it.
Try it.
But I'm going to order something else too, just in case I don't like it.
Yeah. Get a lobster roll.
You can't go wrong with lobster rolls.
Not at all.
No.
How many guys go up with y'all every year?
We try to find 10. We have 5 or 6 of us that are pretty loyal to it, and then there's always 3 or 4 that have some plans come up or something like that. But I really like going with 10 just for the sole purpose of splitting the total cost and everything.
Well, and there's strength in numbers. Like if you needed to, like say the birds were not in that area per se, like you can at least split the resources with scouting, beat down the roads if you need to.
Yeah. 100%. It's a lot easier to find them with 3 pickups rolling than it is 1. That's for sure.
Now, this area, is it pretty consistent? Like as far as birds using like the same area, same fields and stuff like that, from year to year?
Yeah, it's all going to depend on the crop rotation, but for the most part, we hunted a lot of the same pens I've had pinned up there for several years. So
that makes it easy.
Yeah, for sure.
Did you hide in canola? Did
What's
y'all
that?
hide in canola?
No, birds won't touch it.
No. We hunted in wheat stubble that had patches of canola. I guess wild canola had grown up, and we hid in it. And man, it made great hides. I mean, we were hid so good. But I think our allergies, it jacked up some allergies on some people. I think.
Oh, I bet it probably played a toll in your sinuses too. That shit is dirty. It's really dirty.
Poor Logan Pyatt. He not allergic to anything. He said. And then, like, he wakes up the next morning and fucking eyes are matted shut, can't breathe out of his nose, and it's like, he was like, who the fuck would have guessed that I was allergic to canola? But
yeah, down here we would have no idea. We don't have anything like that.
No, I mean,
down
exactly.
Here.
Like, you're never exposed to it down here. So, like, you get up there and it's just like this new fucking allergen attacking you.
Do you know how many people are jealous of you guys? 10 of your friends get up and go somewhere for a week. You cook every day. You stay at a VRBO together. I don't think most women understand how lucky as men we are to have passion like that for something. I mean, for a week of just getting to do what you want to do is as freaking good a vacation as you can have going anywhere in the world, and to hang out with your friends. You're pretty blessed on that. That's a cool trip.
Yeah, super blessed. And the camaraderie is nice. The memories are nice. Geez, my ribs are just now starting to not be sore from laughing so much. But the fact that it pisses the women off that we can all do that and have a great time and not have to worry about anything, the fact that it pisses them off just a little bit makes it that much better.
I bet. Is there one guy in the group that catches shit that fucks up all the time? Because every group's got that one guy in it.
Well, I think our group has 10 of them. Just depends on the day.
How was the weather when y'all were there?
It was shitty and rainy. Not a lot of rain. It wasn't heavy. It was just constant mist, and I guess we had a couple good showers, but they were super late into the night. But it was overcast and doomy and gloomy the whole time we were there. I think the sun came out one afternoon, and that was our last afternoon.
Poor Josh Moore. I mean, God love him. He works hard. He's a great kid. That poor fucker went all the way to Quill Lake, Saskatchewan, and he does nothing but catch shit from the guys that he works with. And then, like, we got there, and it was like worlds colliding. Like, all of our jokes,
just part of the,
all of our jokes came with it. All of the shit they'd been giving him were there. And, I mean, it was like superpowers unite. What was the Captain Planet? It's like, that's what it was like. It was just like superpowers unite, and everybody had one common goal of just fucking making this poor guy's life a living hell.
Except for me, I loved Donnie.
Oh, bullshit.
I was just nice to him. He's a good kid. Works his ass off. But we were lucky. We had 3 days of clear skies and lots of wind. I mean,
yeah, that's pretty rare. Anytime I'm around, it's usually overcast and dead calm.
No, we had good winds, and our next trip we're fixing to go on has got good winds. I looked at the winds on it. I didn't even look at the winds before we went to camp. Didn't even think about it. And we got there, and they're like, oh, man, y'all got great winds for the next 3 days. And I was like, shit, I didn't even think about that. It's dove season here because wind doesn't even...
Are you guys going...
Sir?
Go ahead.
No, go ahead.
Sorry.
You asked a question. What'd you ask?
You guys going back up?
Yeah, we're leaving in the morning at 2:30 in the morning to go south of Montreal to hunt again. And we're going to be filming up. We're going to film up there. We're hunting and fishing on this trip. Shoot some big Canadas, and we're going to catch walleyes and smallmouth bass. Hopefully, maybe we'll shoot. My goal is to shoot a black duck, and they don't have a lot of them around yet. But that's going on the wall if I shoot a black duck.
Yeah, we've seen a few around here, but more apt to shoot a blonde than you are to ever shoot a black where I'm
if I could shoot a blonde mallard, that would be absolutely amazing. We had, and I'm going to be honest with you, everybody says the same thing. Well, hell, if we don't kill nothing, it's not that big a deal. Well, if we don't shoot anything on our next trip, same with this last one we went on, it's not that big a deal. It's getting to go away and make memories. We had great film footage for On the Road with Boss, and this one will be the same. I can't wait to go. I enjoyed it, but it was a really good time. I love Dirk and Kaylin at Boss and Connor. We had such a good time, and it was me, Logan, and Andy. And then the film guys we had, Luke and Rick, are the same ones that are filming our series here, and they're filming On the Road. It was just a good time, but the camaraderie is what makes it wonderful. But it was an absolute shit show getting to where we were going last time because of flights. And here's, if you're going to hunt in Saskatoon, I'm going to give a plug to American Airlines here. You can fly direct to Calgary from anywhere in the United States, just about, on American Airlines. Then you can take a puddle jumper from Calgary to Saskatoon. Our flight, if we would have done that, would have been about 6 hours of a day. We spent 16 hours every day trying to get home. And it would have been a 6 hour. It's an hour flight from Calgary to Saskatoon. You can probably fix it where you got an hour layover, and then you're back home in the States in 4 hours to DFW or wherever you're coming from. And it just would have been so much. It was just a pain in the ass getting up there because of the flight schedule. Because nothing flies to Saskatoon anymore, hardly.
When we flew up there, we would fly out of Omaha or Kansas City, and we would always get held up in Minneapolis, and then we had a straight shot from Minneapolis in. But I've only flown up there once, so it wasn't that big a deal. It was like a 5 or 6 hour layover in Minneapolis, which wasn't bad. It's a shithole, but the airport's somewhat clean. So
mini hopeless.
It wasn't too bad.
How long of a drive is it for you guys?
From my driveway to the driveway of the Airbnb, the truck did not shut off. We drove it all in one pull. It was 21 and a half hours.
It's about how long it took us to get up there.
Yeah, I mean, that was with us flying. That's about how long it took us.
Yeah, fuel stops, loading the def back up, stuff like that.
So do you know everybody that's in the group, or are you pulling guys that you know and other buddies that go every year? Are they pulling people that they know, or is this group like pretty? Like if you have 10, are there a couple guys that you don't know?
6 of us this year. We hunt together down here at home. 7 of us actually. Sorry, 7 of us hunted at home. We hunt at home together, and then we had 2 new guys that were just buddies of a buddy. They were really great guys. As far as I know, they're planning on going back next year, so it already sounds like we got our 10 spot filled for next year. The house is paid for, so now we're just waiting again.
Do y'all go the same time every year to keep it easy? That way you can book the Airbnb out?
Yeah, for the most part, I would say it's within the same 2 weeks every year. If I'm going to watch the weather a little better, I'm really bad about watching the weather unless it's really hunting season and we're fired up down here. I'm just oblivious to anything going on in the weather, which is terrible. But if the weather's going to be about the same up there, I might try to push it back another week. I like going up there and shooting the small geese because we don't get a lot of small geese right here where I'm from. So I like decoying the big wads of small geese up there, and obviously the snow geese because you don't get to shoot them in the fall down here like you can up there. Ducks I don't really care about. I enjoy shooting them, but they're just so up in the air. They just don't really do it for me.
Yeah.
But I really enjoy shooting the big geese up there too, and it seems like we probably missed that by a week, maybe 2 weeks. They were around 10. They were just super scattered out. There's 10 in a field, 20 in a field, 5 here, 5 there. As years past, we've hit it right, and there's just monster wads of big geese up there. And then all your littles have moved out, and your snow geese have moved out. But there was an insane amount of snow geese right there in the region that we hunted this year. So I knew from the get-go that we probably weren't going to shoot many big geese, and we didn't.
Right.
But it was still a really great trip.
The people that we were with, they said the big geese have been assholes recently. And I don't know.
Really?
I don't know if it's because we're having such an unseasonably warm fall. I don't know.
Crazy.
I think he said what the big geese are doing is they just they'll see the decoys and then they'll just kind of go 100 yards away. and they're not in big groups, a lot of pairs and small like family type groups. And he's just like, getting the big geese to play at all this year has been damn near impossible.
Yeah. Is that Canada specific or?
No, just where they were, just around Quill Lake.
Okay.
No, I don't know about other regions, but
Sure.
just where they were around Quill Lake, they were like, just the big geese have not turned it on yet.
Yeah, the only problem we've ever had with big geese up there is, they're just going water to water, or
Right.
You can scout them in a field up there. And as much as everybody loves to say it's Canada, they got eggshells on their head,
Yeah.
you can shoot them under a traffic cone, stuff like that. They will burn your ass up there if you're not lined up on them right. And so the only struggle we've really had is going water to water, or I don't know. Sometimes I think even on those big geese, even in Canada, your spreads tend to get too big.
Right.
Like this year we took a bunch of giant DSD giants up there. I think we only had like 4 or 5 dozen of them, and I don't know that we ever we really never set up on big geese, except for once. And I think we used like 18, maybe 19 decoys, something like that. Didn't have any trouble there, but the farmer that we talked to said they've been going in there for 2 weeks. So
yeah, pretty.
It's a pretty solid deal. They're feeding up against a big tree line. You can hide 3 A-frames in them pretty freaking easy. So
is that what y'all hunted out of A-frames or layouts?
It was probably 50-50 this year. For whatever reason, man, I don't know. We've cut so much brush and made we call them like portable sloughs or just mock sloughs around those A-frames.
Yeah.
We've tried the decoys tied into them, shaped around the A-frames, loose all the way away from them. And I just don't like the way they decoy. And then we've tried to pass shoot them that way too. I just haven't had any luck with A-frames out in the middle or anything like that. But
right. No, I don't like it. I'm anti A-frame in the middle.
Yeah. And the only reason why I even tried to consider it up there is because it was overcast. If it was sunny,
right,
no way. I'll fist fight it. I'll fist fight you over it.
Yeah. Now, if you've got like a natural tree line or something you can tuck into,
100%.
I'm good with that. Or like there were a couple times like there was a slough running through the field. You probably could have gotten away with it that way. They just use layout blinds just so you really are invisible. But
yeah,
if it's a cut wheat field or a barley field or whatever, and you stick an A-frame out in the middle of it, I'm anti that.
Yeah, for sure. And we've gone up there so many times and we've established the relationships with the farmers. Usually, when we roll in there, that's the first thing we'll do is we'll go talk to those farmers. And then, fortunately enough, most of the guys we hunt on, as long as we're there, they don't let anybody else hunt on it.
Nice.
So we have the luxury of letting them feed in those fields for quite a bit. So they'll start in the center or basically in the middle of nowhere.
Right.
And then the longer they're feeding that, it's kind of like everywhere else. They'll get out on the edges and stuff like that. And then you can A-frame them pretty well up there.
Yeah. Do you guys just have, like, you've got your decoys, your buddies have theirs, and you just put them all together for this weekend in Canada, or how's the equipment work?
Most of the darks are mine. Another buddy that went, he's a big snow goose guy. So we took his full bodies and electronics, and we don't ever take any ducks. We just take a spinner or two with us,
right.
And we had some dive bombs up with us this year, and it was pretty simple.
Yeah. Dive bomb makes it so easy. Like, I mean, if you don't want to spend just a shitload of money on something, something that you might shoot every once in a while, just get some silhouettes and they're good enough.
Yep.
For like if there's 1 week of the season where you shoot ducks and, you don't want to spend a fortune on duck decoys, well, just go get 5 dozen of the silhouettes. They're fine.
Yeah, their duck silhouettes are pretty badass.
Yeah, I like them.
Did you kill any cranes while you were there?
Any cranes?
No, we did. I take that back. We saw maybe a handful. I don't know if they were. I wouldn't assume that they were north of us yet. They could have been east, but no, we didn't really run into any cranes. Maybe a handful.
Yeah, we crane hunted one day, and it was like crane hunting in Texas.
Got humbled pretty quick.
Yeah, right. Yeah, we burned down the snows and the ducks, and then I mean, it's just they're prehistoric. I don't know what you want. They can be assholes too.
We shot a limit of birds that
it's a dinosaur.
we shot a limit that afternoon of geese, regardless. So
Yeah.
it was a filler for us, and we, and I appreciated them trying, and we shot some cranes, but it was just like we all knew too. We like this is going to be the people that were with us had never done it before. It's like, listen, we're going to be heroes or zeros. It's going to work. They're going to want to come here. We had a couple right off the bat. The highlight of that trip was we had a moose in the field with us, but just they're cranes, and that's what they are. But because we didn't shoot we shot a couple snows that morning, but if we'd had a bunch of snow goose decoys out, we probably would have killed some snows too, but it gave us the ability to shoot a full limit that afternoon. I'm glad we did that.
Yeah. No. It definitely worked out.
Did you guys see a lot of moose?
We saw moose every day except the last day we saw moose. Yeah. One evening we saw moose in 4 different places going back to the lodge from the field.
Yeah, we saw an insane amount of moose this year.
Really?
Yeah.
Didn't see an elk. Did you see any bears where you were at?
Yeah, we saw mama bear and 2 cubs. We saw them 3 nights in a row in the same little wolf patch. A lot of moose. Got a good moose story.
What is it?
We were out scouting one evening, and we kind of went away from a feed that we'd been keeping and letting build up. So we kind of just went to a new area to see what was going on, basically just to burn some daylight to see what was going to end up in that field. And pulled up on, I shouldn't say we pulled up on them. Come over this hill, and we saw a bull and a cow standing out in the middle of this wheat field. And it just seemed like a really odd place to see a moose, And typically up there, they don't hang out by the roads for very long because I think the locals like to skip them across the hood. That's what the locals say, anyways. Right. There's a lot of moose out of pickups up there, I think. We pulled up on an elderly gentleman and his son, and I don't know if he was being truthful or not. I don't know. I'm not a game warden. We were a long ways away from the house, and he had a gun, so I just agreed with everything he said. And supposedly he had shot shot the bull, excuse me, and they were waiting for him to fall over. So we're watching all this take place through binoculars. It was just wild, man. So long story short, we ended up watching this guy KO this bull from the pickup. Supposedly he had a special handicap permit. It was just a wild story. Just Canada, man. There's a lot of wild shit.
Did he kill it finally?
Yeah, did it ever fall over?
Oh, 100%. I got it on video through Binocs. I've got Snapchat videos of it, pictures of us holding it. He was a cool guy. We just made sure we snuck out of there before all the work started.
Yeah, exactly.
That's a lot of work cleaning a moose.
Well, and I don't want to be there for when the fucking game warden show with Mr. Green Jeans and checks your handicap permit.
Yeah, for sure. I grew up in a locker, so I've had my hands on elk and a shitload of deer. So I know what work they had cut out for them. I made sure I told the guys we got to get out of here.
Listen,
we got to check on these birds.
It's about to get real here, and you don't want to be a part of this process.
I was in Alaska
1,500 pound bull moose laying there. It's a chore.
I was in Alaska one time, and a guy shot a moose down from us, and they couldn't flip it over. We were in the woods. I mean, and they shot this thing right in the edge of water in the river, and they couldn't flip it over. So they just got half the meat on it. I mean, it's I think a Canadian or an Alaskan moose weighs 2,500 pounds.
Yeah, significantly bigger than the moose that you typically see up in Saskatchewan, I think.
Yeah, I think those are 1,500 to 1,800 pounds. I think they're a third bigger in Alaska.
Yeah, that's a big-ass animal.
I wish I'd have been there to help those guys.
Would you?
I'd have just flipped that motherfucker right on over, Jeff.
Maybe we'll see one. I'm hoping when we're...
I'd have just flipped it right on over for those gentlemen and just said, you guys have a nice day.
Would you be nervous to walk back to your truck and park it if there's a moose in the field?
I mean, I'm not going to go park by where we saw the moose. I'm going to go the other way. But no.
Moose scare me, probably more than a bear.
Did it stink?
The moose? It wasn't too bad. Very similar to all the elk I've ever smelled.
Right.
I don't know. Not super gamey, just kind of like damp.
Right. Yeah. I've never been up close to a moose or an elk, so I wouldn't know.
Well, let's kind of hope that we don't get real
Yeah,
close to moose.
it's pretty wild. You can add me on Snapchat or something. I'll send you that video.
Yeah.
You should have volunteered to cut some back straps out for y'all.
Well, I mean, that thing had been on the ground for maybe 5 minutes, and this guy's wife and daughter-in-law pulled in, so I think they were pretty excited about getting this thing cleaned up. And, it's good for them. They're going to eat it, so I'm all game for that.
I wonder how long it's going to take a family of 4 to clean a moose. I bet they had at least 5 hours worth of work ahead of them.
Yeah, I mean, as soon as he shot that thing, his son made a phone call, had a tractor on the way with a bucket and a chain and all that good stuff. So it sounds like it's not their first time.
No.
But, a lot of work, regardless.
Is it Kaleb Hunts? Is that your Snapchat?
Everybody in fucking America now is going to be hitting you up on Snapchat.
Yeah, you can go to my Instagram. I think it's on there.
Okay, I'll look at that then.
Have you seen in Alaska where they take the head and they make the head cheese out of it for moose?
No, I'm out though.
Yeah, they do that. Take all the nostril gelatinous and all that shit, and they make like an aspics or something, I think is what they call it, out of it. And it's called moose head cheese.
Okay. Yeah, that was not your Snapchat, so I'll find it and I'll get you added.
Just my first name dot my last name.
Yep, I just saw your Instagram, so I'll find you. Don't worry. But yeah, send that to me. I'd love to see that. What was he shooting?
Pretty wild. He shot him with a 30-06.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I wouldn't figure that would happen. I don't know anything about rifles, but that seems awfully small for a moose.
30-06 is a pretty good sized round, and he was we shot him with a rangefinder while he was still in the pickup, and we were sitting there watching this all unfold. He was like 225 off the road, so it's a chip shot for a 30-06.
I'd want like a, I don't know, fucking elephant gun. I don't want a pissed off moose, Jeff.
Yeah, for sure.
50 cals, that's what I'd shoot.
You shoot a moose with a 50 cal.
I don't fucking know anything about goddamn rifles, Jeff. I'm just talking shit right now.
Well, that would be it. That would
50 cal would work.
It would work.
A 308 is what I would shoot.
Are you looking up something? What do you shoot a
308?
You looking up what do you shoot a moose with?
Yeah. Or a 338.
So
maybe that's what I would shoot.
Yeah.
How many when y'all go 10 guys up there? How many rounds of shells you taking with you?
Me myself, because I know that I will stop shooting and just take pictures or, just watch. I took it was either 400 or 600 rounds.
Good Lord.
I think everybody took probably 400 to 600, probably just in case.
Did they have trouble getting across? Aren't you only supposed to take 200 across the border?
Yeah, then you gotta pay duty on everything extra, which see, that's kind of the gray area about crossing the border. It's kind of just at their discretion. It seems like the group before us, the guys in our group, they crossed the day before and they paid like $50 to get, I don't know, 1,200 extra rounds over or something like that. Wow. And then we paid $60 or $75 on top of our $25 gun declaration. So I don't know. It's kind of weird. It seems like a gray area. It just kind of depends on what kind of mood they're in, I guess. I don't know.
So what you said you found a nice thing to do with your declaration. What was that? Oh
yeah, I just didn't know. I'm sure they've volunteered that information every single time I've crossed, but there's always a scramble the week before. You make sure everybody's gun declarations are good and you got enough of them. You're supposed to have one with the gun at all times, on your person at all times, and I always throw a couple extra in my blind bag too, just in case. But you can use the same gun declaration year after year after year, as long as you don't take any other guns.
Right.
As long as you don't have to change serial numbers or anything like that, you just keep using the same declaration, which is super convenient for me because I make a shitload of copies, way too many.
Right.
And I ended up losing them. I lose them every year, start from scratch. But this year I put it in like a laminated sleeve that I could remove it from. So hopefully I keep track of it.
Right. Yeah, it says right here the old 30-06 is old and boring, but that's what your grandpa used to shoot moose. So got to use a 150 grain bullet though, Jeff, in case you were wondering.
Yeah. It's a pretty good chunk of lead.
I'm a fucking rifle guy now, bud.
Big rifle guy.
I'm
Watch
a
out.
big rifle guy now. One fucking article on Outdoor Life.
Shooting long range.
Yeah,
Shooting long range before you know it.
that's right. This says you can even do it with a 243.
Well, you better. I wouldn't recommend that to most people.
Well,
I mean, if you're 15 yards away, yeah, but other than that, no. So what?
this says you want the versatility of the 30-06 because you never know what you might run into there.
Yeah,
I'm a fucking rifle guy now. Just come to me with all your rifle questions, boys and girls.
I hope your fucking phone line gets in it. You want me to give your cell number out too? To have them text you.
No.
So, tell me this, Caleb. What are you hunting next now? So we're back in the States. Are you duck hunting and goose hunting in Iowa every day or every weekend?
So our goose is open right now. Ducks don't open until like the 14th. Iowa duck season's terrible. Their goose season's not that great either, but you kind of just take it as it comes. We're like I said, our goose is open. Ducks open now actually for the south zone of the state. But yeah, I mean we're gonna get fired up here. About an hour north and east of me. We hunt a lot of farm ponds over there. It's a lot of pasture ground over there, so those birds will come out and loaf in those farm ponds and stuff like that. We do really well early over there, and then when it gets late, we'll hunt right here around home or over into Nebraska. I hunt Kansas a little bit too, Missouri. Just try to go wherever they're at.
I tell you what, I'm looking at the long-term weather, and it's not looking conducive to really good waterfowl hunting for the next couple of weeks in the Dakotas and in the places that duck season's open in America right now. Does not look very good because the weather's staying really pretty balmy. I mean, it's like it was 43 here this morning, which is cool for us for October morning. I'm not gonna lie to you, but it's supposed to be 80 degrees again, like on Thursday.
Well, it's going to be 90 next Sunday.
Next Sunday's 90 degrees.
Yeah.
Thank God I'm gonna be gone. But that's the
Yeah,
weather we're having.
It was like 37 here this morning when I got my pickup to come to work, but we're supposed to top out at like 62, 65, something like that. It's pretty hard to get excited when it's that warm yet.
Yeah.
But
oh, fuck. Tell me about it, bud. Like,
yeah.
we'll be in fucking December and it'll be 75 degrees. Like, you don't have to tell me about not getting up.
Sure.
But it looks like we're going to need
For
some
sure.
winter to really kickstart. But especially the guys that are wanting to shoot ducks in November, it's looking pretty slim unless we get some big weather. We got a lot of geese here now. We could run 2 goose spreads today and be okay here in Texas. But we're going to need some long-term weather, and we need a big front between now and the 1st of November. Would sure make our November a lot better. But calendar birds are going to save us again because I'm just not seeing a whole lot of weather and no big fronts at all. And it's October 15th. What is today, the 14th? 16th. It's middle of October. We're due for a big front now up north. Have y'all had a freeze yet?
No. I would say this morning was the closest we've been to a frost.
That's crazy. Right? Like,
Yeah.
shouldn't you have had a freeze by now?
It's hit and miss, man. Sometimes we'll get pretty chilly early. Typically when that happens, it'll be 90 on Christmas.
Yep. Yeah.
Which is just shit. No, we're pretty warm yet.
It's our average first freeze is November 4th. We're 400 miles south of you or whatever it is. I don't know how many miles it is exactly, but it's a probably 8-hour, 10-hour drive to where you are from here. And our first freeze typically is in 2 weeks. I don't see that happening this year.
Yeah, what you guys like an hour south of Amarillo?
No, we're
About 2.5 hours south of Amarillo.
2.5 or 3.
Okay.
We're right. I mean, obviously, I don't know how much you know about Texas fucking geography, but there's Abilene, Wichita Falls, and Lubbock, and then like it makes a triangle, and we're right in the middle of that triangle. So, hour from a Walmart, an hour from a nice place to eat, basically, is what it all adds up to.
Yeah, for sure. We're not quite that far, but it's a good 20 or 30 minutes to Walmart, or 15 at least.
Yeah. So what were the little Canadas like there? Were they in abundance and ready to play?
There was quite a few small geese. Not super decoy friendly.
Really?
Seemed like right away in the mornings when you think it would be real good, you got low light. You think it would be really good, but it actually got a little better towards 10.
Really?
For some reason, it was weird. really weird. Usually they're right away in the morning. You can rip them pretty good, but it seemed like later mornings we did better.
That is weird. Was it? You said it was overcast every morning?
Super overcast, yeah.
I wonder if they just needed to be able to see the decoys a little bit better.
Yeah, it could have been like, oh man, there was maybe 2 mornings that we could have actually shot and felt comfortable about what you were shooting on at shoot time. Maybe 2 mornings.
Right. Oh.
10 to 15 minutes later to even see.
Right.
I wonder if we're genetically altering those birds, and they're getting smarter because they get the shit pounded out of them all the time. Those little geese.
It's something to think about, you know.
Yeah, I mean, things change. The snow goose is completely different than it was 50 years ago. Now, the snow geese we shot in Canada were not the snow geese we shoot in Texas at all. But those geese have been getting pounded, and they get pounded 8 months out of the year. And those snow geese, by the time November and December gets here, they're smart. You're going to have days you're going to kill them, and the critics like, well, I kill the shit out of them all the time. Well, you don't kill them all the time. You're lying if you say, if you hunt 7 days a week, those birds are getting smarter. And I'm wondering if we're not going to see that same effect with the small Canada geese.
Yeah. So like I said earlier, we don't get a whole lot of small geese right where I'm at. You can go an hour west of us, hour and a half west of us, and you run into a completely different pocket of birds, and there tends to be a lot more small geese over there. But so I can't really see that happening where I'm at. But even in Canada, I don't know. I think you can kind of tell up there that they're just really tired of getting beat on.
Yeah. They're
even that early, you know.
Yeah, they're catching on. Early Canada geese, 30 years ago when we first got in business, you didn't even have to have a call or a flag. If you were on the X, they would set up 3 miles away with their wings cupped and come right in. And it would be like, and it reminded me of Dusty, our guide in Canada, be like, okay, shoot these. Okay, just get back in your holes. Here comes another group. And that's the way it was with the small Canadas back then. It was one group. You'd shoot at them. You'd sit in your hole, and here they come the next group and shoot in 3-4 flocks. You're done. Well, that's the way it used to be. Well, those birds are getting smarter now. But shit, they get piss pounded everywhere they're at. They'll never get a break.
Yeah, everywhere, you know, straight west of me. Oh, they beat the hell out of them out in Nebraska.
Yeah. And those geese are now. There's more pressure in Canada than there used to be. I don't know the statistics, but there's got to be a whole lot more pressure in Canada than there was 10, 15, 20 years ago.
Yeah, there's got to be for sure.
I don't know, but they're such aggressive little bastard, you know. Like they're aggressive feeders, so they're always in a race. They're in these big bunches, so they're trying to be the first ones down. And I don't know.
You don't think we're putting more pressure on them now, and they're going to change a little bit?
I don't know. I mean,
look at the mallard duck. They don't even hardly feed during the day sometimes now when they get pressure on them. That wasn't that way 30 years ago.
The mallard?
Yeah. I mean, where you're at hunting mallards, where they're going to the corn and stuff, at night, the flooded corn and shit, they don't even fly till 30 minutes of shooting time until dark almost now. They've really changed that, and they used to not be that way.
Yeah, but the way that we're approaching the mallard has changed also.
How do you mean?
Well, there's more, you know, you got your flooded corn and shit like that they can, it's like a refuge for them at night.
Yeah, that's very true. I've never...
The geese that we shoot are always going to a field. Well, they don't have that security blanket of feeding in a field at night because predators can get them. Whereas ducks can go to these places that have water on them, water and food, and they can feel secure at night.
So we're making it harder on the geese, but we're not as hard on the ducks, is what you're saying.
No, I'm not saying that at all. What I'm saying is the way that ducks and geese feed are different.
Yes, I agree with you on everything you've said. I'm just asking the question because ducks do have that safe zone, and I've never understood the people that flood corn and they have problems with them feeding at night, why they don't put some poppers in their field at nighttime. Cannons have you seen the propane cannons the farmers will put out to run the geese off? I don't understand why they don't put propane cannons on my water. I would run them all night long so they'll have to go back somewhere else and they can come back first thing in the morning to feed.
I don't know. I don't have an answer.
Yeah, most of the clubs, they're constantly running ducks out of their corn.
At nighttime?
Yeah, they'll bump them at night.
Yeah, I would run the cannons. You don't have to do nothing. It goes off every 10 or 15 minutes. Piss everybody off that lives close there, waking them up all night.
Right.
That is what I would do and see. I would try that just to see if it'll make those ducks go back to the refuges and then come back first thing in the morning. But the mallard duck 20 years ago was probably not a nocturnal feeder like it is now in a lot of places because of pressure.
Oh yeah, for sure. We just get ducks so late here. When they come, they come. I mean, we load up, but it's late. Like, it's the last 2 weeks of our season, then we'll load up with ducks. So it gets a little hectic around here. And they usually come, and like I said, the last 2 weeks of season, and you can bet your ass one of those weeks will be a full moon.
Right.
So it's hard to manage our ducks around here. We get so few, and then they all show up at once. I mean, don't get me wrong, you can shoot some mallards here, but yeah, they're pretty tough, especially with the amount of flooded corn we have around here.
When's your duck season end up there? December, the end of December, or do y'all go to January?
No, we close this year. It'll be December 19th.
Okay, which is way too damn early for duck season to close, I think. But I'll bet you on December 19th, those birds are really gun shy and smart as fuck. I'll bet by January 20th, though, those ducks are feeding everywhere and during the daylight hours because nobody's jacking with them anymore.
I'll tell you this. We have a 3-split goose season. Our third split starts December 30th, and we run until the end of January on geese. And, like, typically late, you would think all those birds are together and you can really beat the piss out of them. Our third split is when we shoot the least amount of honkers, our big geese, strictly for the reason that there's so many ducks coming in and undercutting those geese when they're trying to decoy. You just can't even shoot geese.
Really?
Every single year. It happens like clockwork. As soon as our third split in our goose season opens, you can count on mallards coming out and feeding, and they will screw you almost every time.
We had that happen in Canada. we had ducks working and snows kind of working, and like they were both trying to fight for position, and we ended up not shooting anything because, you know, the ducks were right, and we were kind of waiting to get everything at once, and then it's like, then the snows were here, and the ducks looked like they were making that final pass, and it's just like, what the fuck do we do here?
Yeah, our last afternoon up there, the sun came out, and then we hunted that afternoon, which we typically don't hunt afternoons, but we went ahead and did it that time. We had wind, and the sun came out, so we shot our 80 ducks in under an hour.
Wow.
And then snow geese started to show up, and it was the same ordeal, man. They were all fighting for position. The ducks will always outrule your geese. Typically, they'll come right in. It was somehow we still managed to scratch out like 106 snow geese or something like that in a couple hours, but it was tough. It was tough shooting.
That's a hell of a hunt, though.
People that have never experienced it, like fucking tough hunting's ass, killed 186 fucking birds. And
you're right.
Saying it's tough hunting
for sure.
So,
first world problems, people. It's Canada problems.
Do you hunt with any old timers, like guys my age and older?
Oh yeah.
Do any of them talk about when they were younger hunting, it freezing up and all the ducks being gone? Because when I first got in the business, I hunted a lot of guys from Iowa and Nebraska, and the Dakotas would come down here to hunt because everything was froze up there. There was nothing left.
Yeah, so geez, I hate to say it. When I was a kid, I'm only 30, so it wasn't that long ago, you know.
When I was a boy.
Yeah, when I was younger, I mean, we used to get throttled with snow. And we just don't get snow like that anymore. But all the old timers that I hunt with, they don't ever really talk about it freezing up, but they just talk about the sheer amount of birds that we used to stage here. One of the big refuges here, it's gone super downhill, but it used to be almost 400 to 500 acres of wide open water. So that would take quite a bit. That would take a pretty good freeze to freeze that up, but they used to hold 90 to 100,000 mallards on that little refuge right there all winter long.
Wow.
Yeah, it was so common back in the early 90s, and I, even when I grew up hunting, I would read a lot from Sports Afield to everything, and all the good waterfowl hunting from Minnesota, the Dakotas, and all that stuff was over by about Halloween because it would start freezing up and it would get snow on the ground. By Thanksgiving, there was snow everywhere and there was no food. Everything was covered up. So the birds would push down and stay on these places like these refuges and stuff. But it doesn't happen anymore. And that's one of the things that, you know, you didn't, like, I remember maybe the first El Nino year that I remember was probably 96 or 97 that we actually talked about it. I'd never heard of it before. But one of the things was Pierre, South Dakota had 300,000 or 400,000 small Canada geese then. Well, up until then, that was never ever happened. Those birds were gone. Everything would freeze up except for the Missouri River, and those small geese would be moving down. Well, now we've got all these birds that stage in different areas. We've got the flooded corn, the mallards feeding at nighttime and stuff, and that's going to happen until we get a big snow and snow stays on the ground. You know, and that's what's killing. I think that's what's hurting the waterfowl hunting in the South is the lack of snow more than the lack of cold. Because it can get down to 10 below zero here, and it has. But if there's no snow anywhere, as soon as it thaws out, or those ducks will keep that water open, they'll still have feed. Their feed's not covered up. A goose don't mind eating a frozen piece of corn.
No, hell no. They'll lay on it for a couple hours just to eat it.
I don't know. Things are changing, but you just got to be ahead of it. So.
Yeah, it's out of our control.
That's right. We can only control what we control.
I guess I'll just have to move north.
Further and further north we go. All right, Kaleb, this has been a lot of fun. We're going to let you get back to work here, and I'm glad Canada went so well for you guys. It's good. It's good that you got such a tight-knit group of friends that you can go up to Canada with and shoot the shit and shoot some birds for a week. It's awesome.
Yep, very fortunate. Good group of guys. It was a good trip. Can't wait till next year.
That's just got to wait now. It's a waiting game.
Well, we appreciate you being on here. I hope you have a wonderful and safe trick-or-treat, Thanksgiving, and Christmas. It is the holiday season, my favorite time of the year. Reach out for us if we can do anything for you, and we'd love to see you come down and hunt with us one of these days.
Send me that moose video.
Hey, you bet. Appreciate it, guys.
All right, buddy. We'll talk to you later.
Yeah, be
Bye-bye.
good.
Kaleb Kahue.
Did you say it all right?
I did.
I think you did a good job there.
I know I did a good job right there.
All right.
Amazing how much I've learned about rifles.
You're a big rifle guy now.
Oh, 270. That's the number.
Okay, well, next fall we'll do a moose hunt or something then.
Pow.
And you can go shoot one of those and clean it.
I just I don't even need any help, Jeff.
Hey, you're the man.
I don't even need any help cleaning this thing.
All right, let's jump off here. We got a lot of stuff to get done today before we head back out of here again. God bless y'all. Thank y'all for listening to us. I got some dates left still. November's pretty gone. I got some December. Before Christmas, after Christmas, I think it's the only time. The week before Christmas, the week after, I've got a couple of dates left. Anyways, holler at us. StanfieldHuntingOutfitters.com. God bless you. Have a great week.
Love you. Bye. Check out all of our great sponsors. Go check out Dirty Duck Coffee. Hunting season's coming up. You're going to need your caffeine fix. Dive Bomb Industries, Pacific Calls, Boss Shot Shells, MLR Graphics, Shin Gear. Get out to Memphis this weekend. Looking Glass Podcast, Lucky Ducks, Ducks Unlimited, Double T British Kennels, Mossberg, Stanfield Outfitters, Alpha Outdoor Specialties, and Hemp Hill Farms.